All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right, we are back again on the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. A late night stream here with the UK people. In Sydney, it's 8:40 a.m., so it's nice and early in the morning, which is fantastic. And across the world, I think in Asia, it's probably quite late over there. In America, it's probably nice, good time. But wherever you guys are, I hope you guys are enjoying. I think the international matches have just finished. I just checked. England beat Albania 5-0, and all the Harry Kane fanatics are just rejoicing, thinking he's back. I mean, calm yourself down. It's Albania, man. But it is what it is. I saw a lot of Chelsea football Twitter again. As soon as Reece James got that assist, he was like, "Oh, he's a big force. This, that." I mean, I know he's a good player, but let's not just get overboard with teams like Albania. I mean, I think it's quite expected, but it is what it is. It's international. We are going to talk about Chelsea's season assessment so far. It's going to be a mind-blowing conversation because we're going to talk about a whole heap of things. Best player. Who's been Chelsea's best player so far? I think there's going to be a big debate around that. Who's been Chelsea's worst player or players? Do you know what I mean? Best game, worst game. In terms of our playing style, what can we tweet? What are the positives? What are the negatives? Manager assessment. There's going to be a lot of conversation today. I hope you guys really enjoy this. Smash the like button as you guys are coming through. But before we do all of that, I've got my boys back. It's been a while. The gang is back. Johnathan, how you doing?
Buzzing to be back for a live stream. Been a while. Obviously, me and Tan have been at games. We've been doing content from there. But nice to be back on the stream to talk with you guys, see some comments, and just, delve into the season so far. We're nearly a third of the way in, top of the league. So could be worse, I guess. Could be better, but could be a lot worse. So I'm pretty happy at sort of third way in. So buzzing to chat really with you guys.
Yeah, man. I mean, we have to be happy. We're top of the Premier League. We can't be sitting here and complaining our backsides off. Do you know what I mean? Taron, my man, I was just saying off air that we are pretty much seeing Taron grow right in front of us. The lad just turned 18 3 months ago. Taron, how you doing?
I don't think my signal is great, but hopefully it's okay. But I'm doing great. Can you hear me, guys? Okay, by the way.
We can hear you, but I think your video is just a bit laggy. But I think it should hopefully. Oh, you're back again. There you go. Now it's not laggy anymore.
As you can see, my internet connection's not gotten better. But doing great. Been to more games this year than I have been like 3 times in my whole life. So really enjoyed doing content for the channel, going to Chelsea games, doing what I love, making a new friend for life, Johnathan Mann, and obviously Miss. But everything's great. Everything's great. Busy. But great.
Brilliant. All right, well, let's get straight into this while more people slowly start coming through after watching the international match. I don't know if you boys have been catching some of the international. I mean, Declan in Ireland is just putting this particular comment. Whoa, I thought Reece was badly injured after that kick in the face. Good to see him recover. What happened? Have you guys been catching any of the international matches?
I just read on Twitter that, he did get a kick in the face, but he looks fine. Finished the game. So, I know, I think Taron Alexander will come on for him, about 70-something minute. But in sense that he looks okay, I think he'll be fine. It was just in the face. It was,
This is the last thing we want. This is the last thing we want.
We need all our players to come back with no problems. Pulisic is the one that I'm wondering if he's going to come back. So this is... I don't watch the games. I know we've won 5-0 and Harry Kane scored a hat-trick. That's about all I need to know, really.
I just hope all our players come back fit and fine because we've had like injury issues, and luckily enough, the fixtures have been kind enough where we didn't really miss them. But upcoming fixtures, we've got Leicester coming up, I believe, Man United. I know they're in the mud, but you just never know. We want our full squad back, and I don't want, especially Reece James. My God, he's like a goal scorer for us. if he's not playing, I don't where the goals coming from, which is what we're going to talk about. Okay, Johnathan, let's start this particular assessment. Let's start nice and easy. First off, I just want to hear from you, just some initial sort of thoughts. Taron's gone. His internet is going to be an issue, but Johnathan, just initially, your thoughts about how the season's been from your perspective, some of the positives, some of the negatives, and then we'll delve deeper into some of those things. And then obviously we'll talk about best player and so on and so forth. But just initially, some initial thoughts up until now, how Chelsea has been.
I think when you look at the league table and you look at the games that we've played and, the way we've played, I'm ecstatic. I said sort of earlier that I was happy, it could be worse, could be better. But yeah, if you look on the face of it, top of the league by 3 points, going into 11 games played, can't really be much better. As I said, I feel like we can play a lot better. We've got players coming back. We've got players in form, players out of form. I think that, in terms of our style of play, I think it can certainly improve. I know, we know that the tried and tested sort of formation that worked last season and system that has worked to a T. I think the win backs have been really effective. But yeah, in terms of, look, we've played Arsenal away, we've played Liverpool away, we've played Tottenham away. Okay, we played Man City at home and lost to them. We've played some tricky games. We've got Man United coming up, as you said, Leicester away coming up. And then we've got quite a busy period around Christmas. But yeah, I just feel like we've gone a little bit under the radar. People are still not taking us seriously. All my friends that are fans on other sides, they don't talk about our players really. They don't really talk about our manager. They don't really talk about the fact that we're top of the league by 3 points. I just feel like a little bit of disrespect.
I don't think many people even realize we're on top.
Everyone just seems to ignore it. And when people are saying, "Oh, you're not playing very well, you're a defensive team," that's the thing I get a lot. And you can't even your 97 odd million pound striker's not scoring goals. And then when I reply, well, the only thing that matters is we're top of the league. I know we shouldn't be cocky about that or arrogant, because I'm sure Tuchel's telling the players, look, we can do a hell of a lot better. But we're 3 points ahead of this so amazing Liverpool side and this absolutely incredible Man City side who did, to be fair, topless at Stamford Bridge. They completely outplayed us. Yeah, we're 3 points clear of these teams. So if we are so bad and not title contenders, we wouldn't be in this position ahead of those teams. So, yes, we didn't play great in the Man City game. That disappointed me. That was a real low for me.
Yeah.
And Liverpool disappointed, obviously, with the sending off that really kind of not cost us the game. But
we followed that Man City with that Juve performance as well, which I didn't like.
Yeah, which was just two anomalies that needed to get out of our system. We did get it out with, obviously, the run of games after. I mean, we haven't lost in, 8 games now, 7 wins and a draw. Okay, they're games we should have won. But yeah, in the sense that Liverpool away was just the second half was taken away from us, really, with the red card. So it was only really the Man City.
I feel we could have won that. I feel we could have won that.
Second half, even with the chances we had in the first half, decision making, being a bit more cutthroat, that's where we can improve. But as I say, if we're drawing away to Liverpool, okay, you can take out the Man City game. The fact that we are top of the league, I keep going back to that. But at the end of the day, it's a results business. And if Tuchel is where we are at the end of the season, we're going to win the league. And again, I still don't think we're taken seriously enough, but that's a good thing. We are quite good being the underdogs. Mourinho had this siege mentality and it's kind of stuck with us a little bit as fans, that we like people hating us and not rating us as high as we probably should be. So yeah, initial assessment is doing well. The results are clocking up, but we do need to improve because, we play away to Man City, we play home to Liverpool. We've got United coming up. We've got other tricky games. Arsenal have been much more improved. Tottenham are going to be better. Got them in a month or so. So all the other teams around us are improving, in my opinion. So we can certainly improve. We just need to make sure that we do in order to keep these teams at bay.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, Taron, what's your initial assessment? Yeah, top of the table. Jonathan's been saying that we've been under the radar. I kind of like being under the radar, just sneak up on them. And then December, we're on top. And apparently there's a stat, if Chelsea is generally top of the table in December, they've gone on to win the Premier League. So that would be a good milestone if we can end by the end of December. Come 1st January, if we're on top of the Premier League, I think we're going to be
2nd of January.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, look, whoever finished top at Christmas or is top at Christmas, very high chance. I agree with you. Definitely.
Exactly. So, Taron, what's your initial assessment, man, so far for the particular season?
Well, yeah, you can't really complain too much being top of the league. Like Jonathan said, it speaks enough for itself. Like Jonathan said as well, the only thing that matters at the end of the season, it's not about if you're defensive. It's not about if other teams are better at playing football, if they score more goals. The only thing that matters is that league position. And the fact that we have installed that winning mentality into our players, Tuchel's come in, and I feel like defending, I'm going to talk about defending a little bit, I feel like it is an art, and our players definitely have the drive to not concede goals. They have that urge to, every time the ball goes into the net, they're absolutely fuming, and that just leads to wins. And there is a really famous saying that I half agree with. It's defenses win titles and attack win games. And yes, it's almost like our defense has peaked, but our attack has so much growing left to do. So Liverpool, I feel like they have almost reached their peak by, I think, Salah is playing really well. The defense is looking decent. But when AFCON comes around, Salah's going to be gone. Mane is going to be gone. It's going to be difficult for them to come around. Man City, I'm not sure how long they can keep up this form for. They are looking like they're having a few shaky results here and there. But I feel like we have so much improvement more to do. And when Lukaku's firing, when we're playing even better, when everything just keeps going up and up, all of our players are fit at once, I feel like it could be dangerous. So far, we've seen great improvements from some key players. Mateo Kovacic has had a great season so far. And it's just these little things that are making us really, really collect a lot of, fire and everything for the title challenge. Our defense is looking solid. Our midfielders are improving by the game. And our attack, 7 goals against Norwich, whether you can say that wasn't, the best attacking performance. Like Johnathan did say, there's, some games we were a little bit, win the final third, but we're scoring goals. We're beating a lot of low block teams like Newcastle and Southampton who really sat back deep, and we are playing well. So it's been a great season so far, and I think we have a lot more to give. It's not over yet.
No, 100%, man. Johnathan, let's look at some of the positives and negatives. I want to ask you, what's been one of the biggest positive, or two of the biggest positives for you so far this particular season under Thomas Tuchel and the way we've been playing?
Yeah, I think when you talk about positives, I know it's a sport where people like to see goals, they like to see drama, controversy. But if you look at our defence, when we conceded against Burnley, it was almost 40,000 people at Stamford Bridge that were just in shock that we'd actually conceded, because
I can't believe we conceded.
It was, we've been so solid defensively. The Brentford game summed that up, where we just, were pummeled, even with our first choice, some of them defenders out. We just didn't like we were going to concede. And Mendy's pumped up just to keep a clean sheet. The chance that he stopped against Norwich, I know it was probably their only chance of the game, but he was so pumped afterwards. As Taron said, it's an art, and our players are so, really keen on getting a clean sheet that if you don't concede goals, as Chelsea showed in that 15 goals against season when we won the league, generally the team with the best defense and the best attack wins. Not always, but generally,
wins the league.
If you don't concede, you only need 1 goal. And I kind of felt like we almost fell into that trap a little bit against Burnley, because we were like, we're not going to concede. We scored 1 goal. We haven't scored. We should, but it's fine. And we just need to watch that we aren't overconfident in that respect, because we've seen it under Mourinho. People used to call us boring. We weren't boring. We still had our games where we tore teams apart. But, under this Tuchel, era that we're in, the players know, like Taron said, about the mentality, about grinding out wins when we're not playing well. I mean, the Malmo game didn't really play great, scored 4 goals. Norwich, I still feel like we could have been so much better. We won 7-0. Malmo away, not great, 1-0.
Even Zenit, that goal that Lukaku scored.
Yeah, the header that he scored. I mean, that game, it was just a bit of all these games were expected to win, but at the end of the day, even the Villa game, Villa gave us a really hard time. Still won that game. So
Southampton as well, wasn't a 1-1? Yeah, and then we came back.
Southampton are a good side. I know at home we should be beating teams like that, but we've had a lot of trials and tribulations other than the Liverpool game, which, obviously I felt like we were taken aback a little bit with the sending off, and the Man City game. We've pretty much passed most of the tests. So in that, to answer your question, the defense certainly, and to add to that, as everyone's been talking about, with goals, with assists, with just general play, and Reece James almost being a midfielder at times, an inverted winger, someone who joins the attack, and you have no idea how to defend against him, is the wing backs. Massive positive. They were good last season. Chilwell and James, one of the main reasons we won the Champions League. Azpilicueta as well, who filled in at right wing back. But those two, especially when they're playing together, they really do affect the game in such a way that teams at the moment don't know what to do, because you've got 2 extra attackers effectively. Reece James, as I said, against Burnley, he was a free man. So often he just came between the lines, picked up the ball a couple of times where he just drove at the defence. Then he was on the wing, putting a cross in, for the goal, for Havertz's goal. So you just don't really know what to expect with them. They're solid defensively, but going forward, they can make such an impact. And we saw in the Liverpool season when Alexander-Arnold and Robertson really came into their own and really do make that side. When people talk about defences, not conceding goals, the way the football's gone now, the wing backs and the left and right back
they're like playmakers.
Outputs.
Yeah, they're like playmakers.
And we have 2 of the best in the league. Chilwell may not deliver a cross as well as Reece James, but in terms of arriving late, his left-footed volley, that goal that he scored.
Both our fullbacks have amazing shooting technique. Their technique is flawless.
And that's I think somewhere where, look, we've lacked goals from Lukaku. It hasn't been good enough in that respect. Not all through his own making, but we've made up for it because other members of the team, which I know we can't rely on that, for the entire season. But when you've got attacking players like James that is so consistent at that attacking output, like Alexander-Arnold is really, goals and assists, it's not dwindled over the years. I can't see James doing that either. So yeah, we are so effective at wing back. It's frightening, but we have adapted because again, like I said, under last season, they were effective, but now they're almost playing as free men. They're playing further forward. They're inverting. So we have tweaked the system. And this is where, Tuchel will adapt, will evolve. We may see a different formation next season because I don't think he's a manager to stand still and allow other teams to kind of figure out how we play.
He's always thinking.
100%. We've been blessed because of the channel to be at so many games this season, me and Taron, and we watch Tuchel and he's always busy. He's animated. You see him on, sometimes on the TV, but so often, he's barking at his players and just trying to dictate play. Yeah, he's
always thinking tactics from the sidelines. He's tactically seeing where he can get an advantage, and it's been an absolute breath of fresh air, to be honest. I mean, Johnathan, you're right. In terms of positives, the key one that sticks out straight away is the defense. There's no doubt about that. Defensively, we're one of the best in Europe. The back line, the goalkeeper Mendy has been a madness. The second one, as you said, is the fullbacks. Absolutely right. I think these 2 points that you've mentioned, Johnathan, are spot on in terms of positives. Taron, I want to now go to you about the negatives. I think it's quite, straightforward when we talked about the positives of the defense, the fullbacks, outstanding. I think in midfield as well, we can probably say, and we'll talk about best players and whatnot. Our midfield has been great. Kovacic has been fantastic. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Kante, Jorginho, and the likes. Taron, I want to ask you, from your perspective, what has been some of the negatives that you've seen this season that you feel these are some of the areas that we should try and fix up because they could potentially be an issue down the track?
I would say taking chances. Again, that was even happening when Lukaku was there. I will give more of an analysis on something else in a second, but I say the main one that stands out for me, we saw the game against Burnley. That is, I think, a prime example where 2-3 months into the season, we've had enough time with Tuchel, even this season with our new players, to kind of integrate a new attacking system. And it does look like we're creating chances in simple positions. And it's just little chances that to win a league title, I feel like you do need to take at times. I'm not saying that's a massive criticism. It is something that can be fixed easily with more drills and when Lukaku's back and stuff like that. But right now, that is a slight issue. Against Burnley, we could have won 4-0. It could have been 3-4-0 in the first half.
We took, 20 plus shots, didn't we?
Yeah, I told you that. 20 shots inside the box and we scored 1 goal. Burnley took 5 and they scored 1. But you could look at it from the other side as well and said in the Norwich game, we created 10, 11 chances. We scored 7 of them with great finishes. And even in the Southampton game, we didn't create that many chances, but we actually scored 3 and we managed to beat Southampton. So there is a lot of ways to look at it. But I'd say that and maybe the midfield again, some aspects of midfield, that the lack of control at times when we're being pressed high. I remember the first half against Tottenham where, Son was coming onto us a lot. We were getting pressed high and we really did struggle to break out of that. I remember last season, the Real Madrid game at home, we played out the press beautifully. We almost sucked teams onto us. Mendy would hold on to it for 3-4 seconds more, attract everyone onto us, and then would play out really quickly and transition. The Kante ball and then Werner goal and stuff like that. And this season, I'd say we haven't been doing that as much. I don't know if Tuchel has instructed the pivot to get forward a lot. I've seen Jorginho making crazy runs into the box this season, the Malmo game at home. Kante is almost our most advanced player at times. Kovacic, we know, has been given... I actually think that there has been a slight tactical change on midfield this season.
It's more progressive. Passes,
they just haven't been there to...
Yeah.
We all talked about the season that pivot is solely in there to recycle possession, counter press, and we'll go from there. And the wing backs will drive, the inverted forwards will create, and them two just need to hold their position, counter press, and then the recycle will play from there. But now we see Kovacic making a lot more runs, a lot more freedom to roam. Kante's getting forward. But I would say, is that an issue or is that just a tactical change? For me, it looks like we're still trying to adapt to it. We don't really have the right goal contributions with Kante and Jorginho just yet. But I'd say those two things. But the chance finishing, look at Liverpool, they are ruthless. If we could master, which I think we can, if we can master the defensive art, which we have right now, master that attacking art, then I honestly think we'll be unstoppable because teams won't be able to score against us and we can pummel teams 3-4 and we won't concede. So how are teams going to beat us from then? So once we can sort that out, and I'm saying not if, when, because it will happen. We have a world-class tactical attacking former manager. I think it can happen very soon. And, Lukaku coming back will benefit that a lot.
No, I completely believe it as well, Taron. It's not a myth that, you can't have the strongest defense and the strongest attack. You got to give somewhere. But I feel you can do that. You can be very organized in defense. It's all about what to do with the ball and off the ball. When you don't have the ball, quickly come into the shape and defend. When you have the ball, transition quick and really attack. It's just a matter of rhythm, patterns of play, and I suppose chemistry within the team. And it's going to happen as we move along with Thomas Tuchel, as you said. We've got one of the best managers in world football at the moment, if not the best out there. So this should happen. We're going to talk about best players so far and the worst players. I think this is going to be very interesting. It's going to spark a bit of a debate as to who has been enjoying who at the moment. And then obviously we'll talk about best matches, worst matches. But before we do that, we've got nearly 40 people live right now. Smash the like button. Let's get those likes up to 40 straight away. Cannot stress enough how much the likes mean to the growth of the channel. The lads know. They've said to me many a times that the likes then throw out recommendations elsewhere. So if you enjoy this channel, you come here on a regular basis, which I know you do because I can see it in the live chat. You guys are buzzing. Smash the like button, help the channel out. And if you're here for the first time, subscribe. Check out the boys and their socials in the description as well. Make sure you follow them. They're lovely to interact with in social media. Okay, Johnathan, who has been let's give you top 3 best players so far for Chelsea and why?
I think we have to go Reece James as number one.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a no-brainer. I know we've had quite a few good performances this season. I have my number 2 will be quite close. But yeah, Reece James has been a revelation because not only has he got even better defensively, I just feel like in terms
goals,
of his
assist as well.
Physically, he, and guy I was sitting next to for the Burnley game, he pretty much just, shadowed out the ball for a goal kick. And the guy said, that guy's not getting through if he had a bulldozer. Because he's now just such a specimen that, in terms of, his fitness, his stamina, his physical
he doesn't
attributes.
Look tired, does he? I've never seen him tired.
I say he's taken everything to the next level. But it's not just about his physical pace. It's about how good he is on the ball. The technique, as we said earlier, about his shooting technique, his crossing technique. When he dribbles with the ball, he keeps it under close control, which is not easy when you're running at his pace because, he's darting past players like they're not even there. As I said, his assists, he could have had 3 or 4 against Burnley. It wouldn't have been unkind. He could have had probably 10 to 15 this season. He's got goals. Those Newcastle goals are not easy, especially with your left foot. The way they.
What about that one where he dinked it?
Just incredible.
Just dinked it over the keeper.
They were top class finishes. That the striker finishes them. You clap your hands. So for him to do that, absolutely superb. Number 2, I'm going to go with Kovacic. I mean, Tumo, completely agree. I think Kovacic is, someone that obviously Taron is a bit of a fan of, but Kovacic, just because of his progressiveness, like you say, the fact that he's getting the ball and he's putting it forward with much more purpose. When he's
most assists in the Premier League, Johnathan, am I right? 5?
Probably, if it is, in my opinion, it should be more. Because if he'd have been doing them balls to Lukaku and Lukaku had been looking for them, trying to get him behind a little bit more, just being a bit more clever with his play, Kovacic would have had way more, in my opinion. Because, this season, how he can just evade 1 or 2 players. He gets the ball and just quickly turns, a bit like Loftus-Cheek. The only 2 that really in our team can do that, can evade a press, can evade a couple of people, in the blink of an eye. But he's done that. He's got the, obviously we know that he can control the ball, he can control the play, can control the tempo. But now he's looking up and he's looking for these passes. And, couple that he got, I can't remember if it was against Villa. I know he certainly got one against Villa. Even the goal, that just being that far forward and that mentally, in the position to go to that, part of the pitch when sometimes he wouldn't be. It's definitely like Taron said, definitely a shift in the formation for him to be a lot more progressive and attacking, but he still has all the usual, kind of, well, what we saw from him last season in the sense that his control, the fact that he can just nip a ball out of anywhere and evade the press. Ralph Lauren. So kind of maybe a left wing one, I thought, but this guy's mentioned him. And I've been someone that, look, I'll be honest, I hold my hands up that I questioned if he had a Chelsea career. I questioned if he was ever going to play for this.
I think a lot of people have. A lot of people have.
Yeah, I was very forthright in the sense that, when you have the injuries he had, you had the form that he had in the last couple of seasons at Fulham and Crystal Palace. I wondered, would he ever get back into this side? Because we have a breadth of talent. It just so happens that because of the way our midfield's gone, because of a few issues, he's stuck around because he didn't want to go out on loan, or, the club felt, that they weren't the right moves. And it's just so happened that, Ruben Loftus-Cheek has come in, especially in the Man City game. He was the star man, really. When he came on, completely changed it. I mean, we still weren't good enough, but if it had been on for the whole game, maybe we win that game or not win that game, but get a point from that game because he was different gravy to everyone else on the pitch.
At least compete, maybe. He was a connector from defense to offense.
Yeah, the Malmo one where he just did that little touch and evaded both the defenders and then hit probably wasn't the best shot in the world, but it was the right idea. So many times where he just dinks the ball, past players, can run past 2 or 3, hold players off. Again, it's. I'm not going to say it's reminiscent of when he was under Sarri, because I feel like he's even gone a higher level than that. The way he's really impacting the game. I do want to see him get more goals, be the guy with the final pass, because he does a lot of preliminary work and the work that the nitty gritty that, as I say, only really Kovacic can evade players like him. But I want to see him get on the end of it and just add a few more goals. I know he's not going to get 10, 12 a season maybe, but I just want to see him, add bits to a game that, Kovacic is now doing. So, Ruben for me, didn't think I'd say this at the start of the season. As I said, I've always liked his play.
That's a big shout, Ruben, to be in your top 3. I mean, he's been fantastic, don't get me wrong, but Mendy's a big shout, man.
Mendy has been absolutely superb, but because we've been so solid defensively, I'm not saying that it's, Mendy hasn't been good and it's the defense that has helped a lot. But just, I think Kovacic has just stepped up a level. We all know Reece James has stepped up a level, but just for me, Loftus-Cheek, because he was pretty much done in my eyes. I was.
So you're looking from the perspective that who has really exceeded expectation for you?
Yeah, no
one
has
exceeded. Yeah,
any of the Ruben. Look, there was a lot of Loftus-Cheek love, but most of the tweets and hearsay was on the chat was all wishing. It was all hope. There was no real conviction in what people were saying, which is why I was so skeptical. Look, I know his injury record's not been great. I hope it completely stays the same as it has been at the start of the season. That's my only worry still. But in terms of his form, he seems to have got back to where we want him to be. So he sneaks into my top 3, but Mendy's very, very close to that top 3. He should be in that top 3 if it was another team. But, we're top of league. We've got so many players that we can pick from. That's a bit of a controversial one, a little bit different maybe, but rewarding the fact that he's made an impact this season that I don't think we all thought or believed he could have.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I think you're taking the approach that you kind of expect good performance from Mendy anyway, but it was more the fact that you didn't expect Ruben Loftus-Cheek to do what he was doing. So kind of get that. Taron, who has been your 3 top players so far this season for Chelsea?
I'll go from the reverse order. I'll start from number 3 and I'll kind of do a drum roll to the first one. But I haven't seen one player in this live, you guys have discussed and in the live chat. But for me, third player has to be Trevor Chalobah. I think he's really exceeded expectations, first of all. Whoa, is that really mad that I've remembered one of our players?
Shout. But yeah, that's a good shout. That's a good shout.
Yeah. I don't know how you guys have mentioned him. He's, Thiago Silva's been a mention, but I think Silva's just gone about his business. 37 years of age, deserves a big mention. But Chalobah, in terms of, like you said, exceeding expectations, I had no clue when we finished that Champions League final.
Well, the man wasn't even meant to be in the team. He was not meant to be in the team.
And we saw Johnathan in the Spurs friendly. We even saw how up for it he looked. He was getting back to like Son, Mora. He looked so up for it. He had that game face on. Really so pleasantly surprised that he's managed to displace a few of these players and start games. How our defense was so solid last season, yet we have an academy player coming in and making so many appearances. That Brentford game, he withstood all that pressure, kept up with Ivan Toney. Just so many key performances this season that I mentioned. And even the Villarreal one, imagine the amount of pressure they had to withstand on that right side, on the left hand side. But he did it really well. So really pleasantly surprised by him. Hopefully he can continue on. He's got that 5-year deal now, which really speaks enough for itself. We've seen, Reece James got that 5-year deal when he had that amazing start. Hudson-Odoi obviously got that after the sorry days, and Chalobah is on that list of real talents that have been born from Le Cobham, as it's called. But yeah, I'll go into number 2 now. 2 for me is not Kovacic, actually, is actually going to be, I've spoiled it, but yeah, Reece James is going to be my number 2. Really impressed by him this season. I think he can get even higher. But the thing with me and James is that I expected this from him. I thought he was going to keep going up and up. I saw him in that first year and I knew he was going to be a special player. But for me, the thing that stands out is just when he's on that pitch with any players, Liverpool, Aston Villa in the Carabao Cup, he stands out as one of the most technical, strong and intelligent players on the whole pitch. It's just that the ease of just pushing all these grown men off the ball when he's 21, shielding them out of possession and retaining possession. And then now he's added that attacking strength into his game. It's what he was missing last season. Last season, I actually brought up his stats. It's incredible. He got, in the Premier League, I believe 32 games, 1 goal and 2 assists. This season, 8 games, and he's already got 4 goals and 3 assists. So I don't
exponential growth.
And he played as like a inverted right back in Frank Lampard's system. It's not like he was always a defensive wing back at Tuchel. He had the chance to, but now he just looks like he knows the positional sense of a right wing back, similar to Ashraf Hakimi. We were all wanting Hakimi in the summer, but James has developed that with Tuchel. He's worked with him at the training ground, and now he knows how to get into the box, how to arrive late, and his finishing, his shot power, everything like that. We know he had it after the Ajax goal and the Grimsby goal, but he's really started to show it at the top level, which is what we wanted to see from him. And I think he can get double figures for at least goals or assists this year, which is all credit to him for where he was last season. But yeah, Kovacic for me, Jonathan, I'm a massive fanboy. Miz, you know now. I have got a Kovacic shirt for my birthday. And yeah, I think he's absolutely fantastic. This season, I didn't think he could get much better than what he already does in tight spaces. All he was missing was releasing the ball a bit quicker. We know he has the ability. It's just about doing it that split second quicker, releasing that through ball to Lukaku, doing that pass Hudson-Odoi against Norwich. And he started to do that now. He's added that end product into his game. And we always mention on this channel, once Kovacic starts adding the end product, he could be up there with the best midfielders in Europe. He has everything you need. His counter-pressing, for example, how quickly does this guy win the ball back after we lose it? He's straight onto players like a hound. And then he has the end product now. So what else does he need? Does he need like the crazy goalkeeping ability if Mendy and Kepa get injured? I don't know what else he needs, but he has everything.
I just hope that it's his shooting technique. That's the only thing. If he could muster that, then he becomes one of the best.
You can't forget that chip against Aston Villa though, where he chipped Emi Martinez. True. But still, he does have that balloon shot in him. But yeah, this season he's been fantastic. 1 goal and 5 assists. Last season, 27 matches, 0 goals and 1 assist. So yeah, I feel like this is all a benefit to Tuchel's system. He's really made players have the license to free run forward now. It's not all about a compact nature. Now, Reece James can get forward, Kovacic can get forward, Chalobah can even make drive runs forward if he needs to. So it's all coming together, and Tuchel has to take a lot of credit for this improvement. Yes, the players have done well on the training ground to improve their attributes, but Tuchel honestly needs to take a bow. He can't do anything wrong, and he's making them so tactically better.
No, 100%. I really like the difference of the range of players that both of you guys had. Jonathan had different players. You had some different players. My top 3, and I'll go like Taron. I really enjoyed going from bottom to the top. I think that's an interesting way to sort of build up. I'd have to say my number 3 would have to be Mendy. Because of the level of saves that he's been making, it's incredible. That Brentford game, we had no right to go away with that game with 3 points. Honestly, Brentford should have got at least a point, if not a win. And there were other matches as well where Mendy just pulled out some high caliber saves, man. And these are some of the things that are, if you want to win the title, you need your keeper to pull out those magic tricks off the bag to keep you in the game, get you that point or maybe get you 3 points. For me, number 3, Mendy. Number 2 has to be Kovacic. I think both of you guys have been saying the way he's been so progressive, he's improved his game. I think it's been a direct instruction from Thomas Tuchel that I need you to play more progressive. I need you to find our attackers a lot quicker. And I think he's been doing that. And now with Lukaku wants the ball quick. Not just Lukaku, Timo Werner wants the ball quicker. So, Kovacic has been in the lookout for that, and that's why the assists have been stacking up. it's a shame that he got injured when he got injured, because he probably could have got a lot more assists had he not been injured. So, look, hopefully he comes back fit straight after the international break, and we can see him balling out again. Number one has to be Reece James. He's been a revelation, man, complete revelation from that right side, and he's another player. I think direct instruction from Thomas Tuchel to say that you, my man, have to attack a lot more from that right wing, because you're not really classed as a defender anymore. You're an attacker. So goals and assists are important for you. And I think he's getting into some tasty position, boys. He's taking up some positions inside the box that are like striker kind of positions. And as Jonathan's already mentioned, his technique is very striker-esque kind of situation. Taron, you've mentioned as well some of the shots that he's been taking. So, and not just that, defensively, he's improved his game a lot more. His positional awareness is very good. The only thing I would say is that I want to see him, that I feel like he has that in him, is 1v1. I do want him to take on his man. He has to trust his speed and his physique. I feel like whenever he comes 1v1, he's like, I don't have the confidence to go past him. I'll just pass it back. And he generally positions himself well in a situation where he's a free man. But I feel like if you're 1v1 and you take the player on, your physique should be enough to, like, he's got the physique of Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Do you know what I mean? And he's fast. So I just want to see him. I don't know whether Thomas Tuchel just instructs him that, dude, go out there and take him on. So that's probably the only sort of criticism I have for Reece James. But for me, Mendy, Kovacic, Reece James, top three. Now, three of your worst performers so far this season. And this is where you might get some heat and some hate, perhaps. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got nearly 40. Please smash the like button. Let's get those likes up to 40 straight away if you guys have been enjoying. And let us know who has been your three worst performers for Chelsea so far, or three underwhelming and you're not sort of happy with it and it was sort of unexpected, or whatever the case is. I'll start with Taron this time and we'll go to Jonathan. Taron, your three worst performers for Chelsea so far this season.
Oh, you threw me under the bus. I thought I was going to get 5 minutes to write down on my Word document anything. And that's what Jonathan is. He's loving it. He's absolutely loving it. Look at him. Do you know, it is really difficult. That's the thing. When you said best players, like 5, 6, 7 popped right into my head. But to be honest, for worst player, only one popped up into my head. I'm sure you probably both know.
You're going to say his name, aren't you? Stop it.
Better call him. But yeah, I'll start with number 3 again. Again, not many players have been bad this season, but I have to give a name now, don't I? I'm gonna have to start with Kai Havertz as number 3.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Why you have to accept it.
I'm joking.
Bear
in mind
Victor agrees with you. He's got Kai as number 2.
Bear in mind the level we've had. I think you have to put him in there because I agree. To be fair, that top 3 could be in any order, really. Well, not Kai probably first, but yeah, there's not been many players that have been bad. It is a tricky one, so yeah, I get why you say
he's been less than expectation, right? Like
he scored goals, 4 goals, or whatever, but way under. Even I've been saying to Taron at matches, I expect more. I've been saying to him, and I'm someone who's advocated for him. He can do so much more. So yeah, Taron, sorry, I'll let you take the stage again.
Yeah, I just thought of Kai. It's just the little things again, just the simple things that I'm going to compare him to Mason. Mason Mount does them so well. Just the simple things in this game that allows him to do the better things even better. And it's just the running after balls, the pressing a bit better, the simple passes, the holding up your defender. It's just these little things that he needs to improve. Yes, he's been getting a few goals. You know, the cup goal against Southampton, the recent Burnley game, the Malmo chip, which was actually really, really spectacular. He does score some goals, but it's just that impact of the game that you want him to do more. He was impacting. Even in the Norwich game, he won 7-0. But what can we really say that Kai did that he can take home and be happy with after that game? So many other players around him are doing well. And I think it will get better. You know, he was ill. Is that really an excuse? He did have quite a long Euros. I'm looking for excuse for right now. I don't think adaptation is an excuse anymore. The whole season, he's won, he scored the UCL winning goal. He should be coming back and building on it this season. That's what I'm disappointed about. I wanted him to really be hitting them numbers and really be challenging Lukaku when Lukaku was fit, But when Lukaku was fit, Havertz was nowhere near that centre forward role. He was more floating around the attacking 10s role. So it's just, like I said, he was so good at the Euros. He was so good towards the end of the last season. I wanted a step up. We said after that Arsenal goal in the preseason, the beautiful one with his right foot into the top bins, we thought it was going to be a great season for him. And it just looks like he's in, I don't even know. I don't drive a manual. Like third gear. The slow one, I don't know.
Second gear,
second gear, bro. Second gear.
Yeah, second gear. So he's in second gear. He's in second gear. He's just strolling along. He's going for a mid-afternoon walk right now. And I think he can hit the sprint. He can hit the 100-meter sprint. He can hit the first or third gear. He can hit that top level very soon. But it's just about that consistency. It's not just about scoring goals. It's about impacting it. We talk about Timo Werner as, he doesn't impact the game in terms of goals, but he does impact in so many other ways. So that's what I'd critique with Kai. Second, I can't really disagree with Hakim Ziyech at all this season.
I'm surprised he's not number one for you.
Yeah, exactly. I'd say
I'm not.
I wonder who's number one. It's going to be crazy, but go on.
Oh man, you didn't think of number one. Okay. Again, like I said, he has had that adaptation year. I wanted him to come into the season building on last year. There was rumors of him leaving in the summer, not being happy with the change of management. But this season, I wanted him to kind of adapt to that attacking midfield role, similar to Reece James' adapted to the wing-back role, how, Kovacic has adapted to his new role. I wanted Ziyech to adapt to it more, get a bit more physical, go to the gym more. I know this is crazy to say, but get a bit more physical playing in
By the way, Ralph Lauren hates Lukaku. He does not like it. I mean, to say Lukaku's been one of the worst, wow. But it is what it is. Yeah, go on.
That is actually, that could have been one of the worst. Seriously, that could have been one of the worst. But I'm going to go
with Taron.
Yeah, I think he could have been one of the worst.
I need some context here, Taron.
Okay. He started off really well. And in terms of expectation, I think there were so many games where Lukaku struggled to adapt to the games. He was kind of making us quite one-dimensional at times. We were struggling to fit in around him. Yeah, pressing, exactly, which meant teams could come onto us and get through our midfield zones more easier. So, I think Lukaku could have been up there just because of how high I wanted the expectations to be. £98 million. Yeah. I wanted to come in, hit the ground running like Diego Costa when he first came in. And it just, I don't want to make this about Lukaku because he's not in my top three, but it's just that I wanted to show a bit more brute, a bit more annoying defenders, a bit more physicality, stepping on people's boots, just doing stuff like that would have getting defenders' brains. But he does look quite timid. He does look quite nice. And, I'm a Diego Costa fanboy as well, so I wanted that. But yeah, back on to Ziyech. I wanted him to hit the ground running this season. He had a great preseason. He had that shoulder injury, which was very unfortunate. But it just looks like he doesn't look interested, if that's fair to say, compared to other players. Just that intensity, that playing the simple ball. There was a stage where he cut in against Newcastle, and I remember the exact moment in the exact same position a year ago where he picked it up, whipped it to Tammy Abraham at the front post, and he nearly headed it in. But that ball was so short against Newcastle. It was the exact same position, and he barely hit the first defender. It's just stuff like this. I can't put it down to a shoulder injury that he can't hit his wizardry passing. For me, it looks like he's not into the new system. He doesn't like playing inside the let's say the Premier League kind of physical zone, like that middle of the pitch. He can't really deal with it, and that's what I put it down to. But yeah, number one, I have to go with Sal. I watched Sal first hand in the Aston Villa game, and you can say Tuchel has come out and said it was too soon for him. It wasn't fair for him to start him in that game, but that was probably the worst debut I've seen in my 10 or so years. John McGinn literally.
You're 10 years old.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, but it was awful. And
John McGinn ate him. Absolutely ate him.
Yeah, he absolutely ate him. Absolutely, he was like a Conference League midfield. Absolutely destroyed him. But yeah, every single time he's got on that pitch, he doesn't look like he's adapted to intensity. He looks a bit short. His passing doesn't have the right, the right zip on it to get to his man. He looks a bit timid when receiving possession. Can I just say, if you play for Chelsea in that middle of the pitch, you have to want the ball all the time. You cannot be drifting around, coasting. The Southampton game I watched as well, he was coasting around the pitch. I didn't realize he was playing at one stage. It got to the 40th minute, and I thought it was Kovacic. I think it was Kovacic. He was alone in the midfield. I said it to Johnathan. It looked like Mateo Kovacic was playing lone DM again, and there was no one else in the engine room with him. And I was thinking, where is Sal gone? But he was actually there. But yeah, back to the point. he needs to do better. If he wants to have Loftus-Cheek, Buckley, who start to come back into his resurgence, Kante, Jorginho, Kovacic, Mount can play if he wants to. Sal needs to do better. And if he doesn't, his loan could be a massive flop. And he doesn't want that. Atletico Madrid have enough players in that position. They do not need to keep him after next summer. And if he does not play well and he does not adapt quickly, fortunately, you don't have the time right now in our league. There's a game every 3 days. We have so many players in that position. He has to play well with every minute he gets. And with every minute he gets, my doubt is getting bigger and bigger. My belief in him is getting smaller and smaller, which isn't a good thing. It's got to the point where I don't remember he's in our squad. Like, we have so many good players in that position that I'm like, I feel bad because he's probably getting paid a lot to be on loan with us. He was promised a big role to get. He was promised a big role to get resurgence, to play his favorite position. All that PR media when he first came in, and I was a big fan of Sal. He scored that goal against us in 2017-18 season. I saw a lot of him at Atletico. He was great against Liverpool in that crazy game at Anfield. So I wanted him to really. I even put on my Twitter. I was like, Sal was going to be a great loan signing. He's going to really hit the ground running. And for me, it just looks like a player's low in confidence. He really hasn't been the same since 2017, and it just looks we can't afford to have these players in the squad. So yeah, I'll put Sal as number one.
Interesting, man. Kai Havertz, Ziyech, and Sal. I mean, yeah, quite reasonable shout, to be honest. Sal, I guess, how many matches has he played? But it's more the fact that the ones that he's played, he hasn't really looked good. So I completely understand. Johnathan, my man, who are your 3 poor performance so far this season?
I know 2 of them. The third one, I just want to split the third one in 4 and give you a little bit of a
bit of a option. Pick
whoever
you want to pick.
Each, as to why there's probably joint third. We can be joint on points, joint on ranking. I want to say joint third here, and I'm just going to give you players mainly because of the expectation when they join to the club, or the fact that I want them to push on this season. So number 3, I'd say I'll start off with Lukaku. I'm not saying he's been bad. He scored 3 goals in the league, 1 in the Champions League, but I did expect him to hit the ground running. That Arsenal game when he started, I was like, wow, we can just. I'm not saying play it up to him. He was a bit of a bully boy that day against a poor Arsenal side who were, prone to a kind of player like him. But we haven't got the best out of him. That's partly down to us.
And let's be honest, Jonathan, we've not looked fluid with him.
No, I mean, yes, he's not as mobile, but I think, again, that's something he can do. It's not just the team's fault. It's also his fault. I feel like instead of being on the last, the shoulder of the last man, sometimes he's up against 3 centre-backs. Think, you know what? If I drop a bit deeper, one of them, maybe 2 of them is going to follow me. It then allows Havertz, the Mount, the Werner to get in behind, the wing-backs to get in behind. I just feel like his lack of, I wouldn't say tactical awareness on the pitch, but if he just changed it up a little bit mid-game, whatever Tuchel says before or after or during, I don't know. But I just feel like if he ran the channels a little bit more, if he pressed a little bit more, if he just wanted the ball in behind more. Sometimes he wants it to feet. He says, I'm not a hold-up man, but so often when he plays, he's asking for the ball to feet. So get that Kovacic one in behind, and then you go and score against Villa. Do that in other games. There's so many games where we just needed a ball in behind him to offer it. Because if he drags a centre-back out, especially when we're playing against 2 centre-backs, that then has one, like Kai Havertz just ghosted in between the 2 of them for Burnley. Yeah. If you have someone that you're not quite sure where they're going to be instead of a fixed man, it's a lot harder to defend against. So I just want a bit more from Lukaku when he starts. So I'm not saying he's been awful, but expect a lot more. And I expect 15 goals for this league season at the absolute minimum.
Even 15, I don't know, man. Like,
this is the problem. He should be
20. He should be 20.
Yeah. Well, yeah, minimum. Exactly. Minimum 15. And that's why he's probably around, my disappointment. Disappointing players.
I completely understand.
Havertz.
Ralph Lauren loves it, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've got a lot of stick from mate because I said, look, Lukaku could be the difference for us winning the league or challenging for the league, and a lot of my mates have gone, oh, you give all this bigging about Lukaku, but then I just say, well, still top of the league, so when he gets better and he does what I say, then we should run away with it, then, right?
Here's a question for both of you guys, but because Jonathan's talking about this, maybe let's go to Jonathan first up, and then we can quickly just get Taron's point of view. When Lukaku's fully fit, is he automatic starter, or is there a case now?
can't pay that much for a striker, expect the goals that we expect from him, and then, say, yeah, go on, Kai, because Kai hasn't been good enough this season either. And if Lukaku was fit, Kai wouldn't be near the squad, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What do you think, Taron? We've sort of said the same at games, though, haven't we, Taron, to be fair, that,
Taron,
we expect more from Lukaku. But
if Lukaku's fully fit, starts immediately?
Yeah, it depends if he's 100% match fit and sharp. Maybe I'd ease, if we are talking like theoretically, if this was to happen, I would ease him back in. I wouldn't throw someone who's had a serious injury straight back in. But yeah, 100%. Kai's not done enough in the opportunities he's got to say, Lukaku, you have to be on the bench now, have to start. And Lukaku, when he is playing, I feel like we need to adapt to him one time or another. It has to come soon because we're going to get to a really tough time in the season where we're going to need him to bag every single game almost. It's going to be 1-0 scrapes away from home in the snow, and we're going to need players like Lukaku to really get on the score sheet. So, yeah, definitely.
Carry on, Jonathan. Your number two, number one?
My number two of the number three of the four. Havertz, just because of the, as you say, didn't push on for the Champions League final winning goal. I know he didn't have his best season last year. He had COVID injury problems. This season, he's still been a little bit ill, a little bit of injuries, but hasn't pushed on. I mean, he's had, 4 games now to kind of, embed himself into the team. Like Hudson-Odoi, who's gone the complete opposite, who's really made a case for himself to start. Havertz, just his first touch hasn't been as good enough as it should be.
Getting dispossessed at times.
And it's physically as well. I mean, he's got a big frame. Use it. I'm just disappointed because I want to see more from him in games. Yes, being quite good in the air this season, still scored some goals, but just want to expect more from him, in terms of the impact he has on the game throughout it. Loftus-Cheek's had way more impact in games he's played than Havertz. I know they've been in shorter spells sometimes, but I want Havertz to be affecting in terms of goals, in terms of assists, in terms of pre-assists. That's why you paid the money. That's what he was doing at Leverkusen. He was just gliding around the pitch, picking the ball up in different pockets of space between the lines. Not similar to Mount, but in the sense that you want him, drifting around being a mobile player. And I just feel like the ball's not sticking with him. And, sometimes we're lumping the ball up to him instead of Lukaku. When, we didn't do that when Lukaku was playing, and now we did it when Havertz is playing, who's clearly not as good in the air. So, yeah, I just feel like we've switched roles. Havertz, we've been playing up how we should be playing to Lukaku, and we were playing to Lukaku like we should have been with Havertz. So, it's for me, just because of the expectation, needs to do more. I still think he's got it in him, don't get me wrong, but both of them players need to step it up. In terms of another player disappointed about, it's probably a little bit unfair, but in terms of injuries, Christian Pulisic, again, probably not his fault. Maybe,
this one's tough to judge because it's not really his fault.
Yeah,
he's been injured.
But in terms of disappointment, I really wanted him to push on this season. Hopefully he does now. So it's not so much a negative worst player, but I just wanted to mention that it's just been a long time this season. I mean, a couple of games this season, 87 minutes, I think he's played in the league. So yeah, not really as in terms of worst, just someone that I expect a little bit more from. Hopefully he will bring it when he plays. And then maybe, one that I might have chuckled about earlier in the stream or even a couple of weeks ago. But I think the standards that he set, despite scoring a hat-trick this season, we expect so much from Mason Mount. This season, he's been good in some games. He's had 4 or 5 good games.
Johnathan, win there, boys. Johnathan, win there. He's on the Mason Mount attack at the moment.
It's not, as I say, look, I'm a player that appreciates everything he does because I was saying when he wasn't playing and he was injured and he was ill, we need to get him back in the squad. We need to get him back playing. And I mean,
Johnathan, let's be honest. He hasn't been that great.
No, there was a game where he came against Southampton and he made a big difference. Norwich, I know he scored a hat-trick. I still didn't think he was amazing in that game, scored a hat-trick. But I just feel like he's done well. Don't get me wrong. He's in some games he's done quite well. But the level that he's, set himself and the fact that we want an improvement year on year.
You want him to explode from there.
Exactly. And I'm not just talking about goals. I'm talking about impact. I just feel like some of his passes, crosses, passes haven't been going to man. Some of the corners and the free kicks not been good enough, and dead ball. That's where he's, been quite good since he's come into this Chelsea side. So again, not really. I'm not digging him out, but I just expect more from him. It's purely with Lukaku, Havertz, and Mount. It's the expectation. We expect these players to be better, and they haven't hit the heights that they should have, in my opinion. So that's really kind of the split that I've done with there for the third position. But second,
who is your number one? Who is your number one again?
I'd say probably get shot for that, but I'd probably say Lukaku because I
Yeah,
expected so much
I was
more.
going to say, is Lukaku your number one? That's who you're going
my number
with.
one of the three. Of the third place, just because should have scored more, should have affected more games, and hasn't scored in a big game. I know, we've got plenty more to come. Liverpool, we're again, Man City, Liverpool games were different, but yeah, Werner was looking for the high ball against Man City, and Lukaku was running the channel. I'm thinking, I was saying to Taron at the game, what's happening here? I don't quite understand. So it's partly him that needs to step up. But number two, I'm not going to add too much because, I think enough's been said by Taron. I can't add much more. But Sal, we were there for the League Cup games. We both said, when Taron said to me, is that Sal? And I was like, yeah, but is he playing? Like, as you said, we honestly thought Kovacic was just a DM and Sal was an attacking midfielder because, again, some people came off that game and said, oh, he had a good game. There was another game that we went to that he played and people were saying he had a decent game. But I haven't not seen anything from him that makes me think he's got to play. Other than League Cup games or dead Champions League games, I wouldn't play him. He just doesn't look confident. I know he needs games to get confidence, but there's no easy game in this league. Like Taron said, you can't bring in a midfielder like that isn't at the same level and expect him to, to get a game. So disappointing. Not going to add too much more. And unfortunately, number one's going to be Habibi. Is going to be Hakan Ziyech. Okay, Newcastle, couple of good crosses. Disallowed goal, couple of good shots. Other than that, I know he's got the goal earlier. Well, which game in the Champions
Malmo.
League?
He got the Malmo goal
the Malmo
recently,
goal from the Hudson-Odoi.
And then obviously Villarreal in the Super Cup.
And Villarreal, yes. But other than that, just when he plays, again, when he came on against Norwich, he had 10, 15 minutes.
Difficult to watch.
Very. So I'm not going to add too much because enough has been said. I think maybe it's time if he can't get a performance strung together in January, we maybe call it quits. But yeah, it's hard to talk negatives, top of the league. We could be top of our Champions League group. We're through to the quarterfinals of the League Cup. There's not too much to be upset about. But there's so many places that we can improve. These players certainly can. That can, the Lukaku's, the Mounts, the Havertz can propel us to the next level that we need. But for me, yeah, there's always stuff to work on with Tuchel. He's not going to rest on his laurels. And for me, I still watch that 7-0 back. And again, I'm probably the only guy saying it, but still could have done better. Could have scored more goals. Still feel like the intensity could have been 90 minutes. A Malmo game, we won 4-0. Could have been better. So, I'm not just happy with those performances, and I don't think Tuchel will be. If we want to win this league, we've got to do it over 38 games, not just 11. It's great to be where we are now, but it doesn't mean, they did a league table on Sky Sports. Since 11th of March, Liverpool are top of the league. Doesn't mean anything unless you actually win trophies. We can talk about how great we are, but if we win nothing at the end of the season, no one remembers us. We remembered last season because we won the Champions League. We may not have been the best side, but we won it. And we will remember that. Same as Munich. You remember the ones where Leicester won the league in a season where no other team really wanted it, but they were great. But against, weak opposition, you remember who wins. You don't remember who loses. So.
Absolutely. My top three, I'll start from the bottom. I think the reasonings are pretty much the same as you guys. Number three has to be Saul, purely because one, I actually never wanted Saul, to be honest. I think you boys know, Taron knows. He was part of some of the streams, might have seen it. I said many a times, if he was the fourth choice midfielder, and a lot of people were saying there is no fourth choice midfielder. It is, everyone's going to get even time. It's about, challenging for the title, but that's how it's turning out to be. There is a fourth choice. You are not breaking down Kante, Jorginho, Kovacic unless they're injured, and then there's the rotation. Now, Ruben Loftus-Cheek is breaking that particular top, that three top dogs out there. He's slowly breaking it down. And even Ross Barkley is somewhat seeing more minutes than Saul. Ross Barkley's starting in the Premier League. Like, deep that for a second. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I'd never wanted Saul. I thought we could have given our lads like Ethan Ampadu and, obviously Ruben Loftus-Cheek some minutes. It is what it is for me, Saul as the number three. Number two, and these are purely because of expectation. Kai Havertz. I expected so much, just like you guys. I expected a lot. And I know a lot of people have given me hate in recent times, or even some sort of, heat on social media that I'm being a bit harsh on Kai. Yes, he's scored goals. Yes, he's assisted here and there. But his overall game, ladies and gentlemen, check out the overall game. It can be a lot better, a lot better. So that's been my issue. If you're happy with what he's doing, then your expectation for Kai Havertz is quite low, to be honest. Like you're just happy. You're happy. But Kai is one of the most expensive players in our history. Like, he's touted to be generational. So, it's time we see him. And we don't have the time to be patient. This is a football club. You've had your season last season, adaptation and whatnot, as Taron said. Now it's time to kick on. It's time to kick on, unfortunately. We've played 11 games in the Premier League. We've played some Champions League as well. We've had quite a fair few players injured, and this was your time, Havertz, to really take control and seize the opportunity and make sure that you are the starter. Now, once Lukaku and Werner comes back fit, as soon as the international break is over, I don't think Kai Havertz is a genuine starter. He's in the mix, but it's not like you can say he 100% starts. So that for me is a disappointment, because you could have taken that opportunity and could have said, you know what? Maybe Lukaku's not an automatic starter. Maybe Kai Havertz is, but that's not the conversation at the moment. Number one has to be, and it hurts, Hakim Ziyech. I love the guy so much. There's some rumors about him going to Dortmund in January. I'm going to be a Dortmund fan. Put it this way. Like, I've always wanted to follow Bundesliga, and I've always sort of had an inkling towards Dortmund in that particular league. Never really enjoyed Bayern that much. Ever since they had Thomas Rosicky, Jan Koller, I'm going back when Rosicky wasn't even an Arsenal player, back in those days, right? I've always enjoyed, seeing them play. So if he goes there, I think it'll be a very good move for him. I'm just disappointed that it never worked out for Chelsea. And the reason why I've got him in the first position is because, once again, I expected him to rip it apart. I thought this was his season. I thought he was going to be the man for Chelsea this season and link up with Lukaku. I thought they were the two players that were going to be the most destructive players for us. So the fact that he hasn't done that, and I love the way how Taron said, my man, yes, you've got a shoulder injury, but that gives you no excuse to miss 5-yard passes at times, get dispossessed, or find your wizardry that you're known for, the inverted cross. Like, it doesn't give you any excuse to miss those sort of stuff. You shouldn't be missing that. And that's been the most disappointing factor. Okay, let's talk about the final bit of this assessment. We've talked about our positives, negatives, how our season's gone, best players, worst players. We're going to talk about best game, one best game, one worst game of the season. I'll start with you this time, Johnathan. Let my man Taron think about it a little bit. Johnathan, your best performance for Chelsea this season so far. I don't think we've had a complete performance yet, but let's see what you have to say.
In terms of best performance, or best, I'll say best result, the most satisfying result was at Brentford 1-0, purely because, we didn't deserve the win.
I was going to say that's going to be my worst performance, to be honest.
That's what I mean in terms of result. Forget performance, not a great performance, but in terms of result, that was sweet, because it reminded me of backs against the wall Mourinho, where, like I said earlier, we played some beautiful football, but we didn't concede goals. And every time the ball kept coming in the box, I was like, just don't feel like we're going to concede today, because we just had that mindset of you shall not pass. So that was a satisfying result. In terms of the performance, it's a tough one. I thought I quite liked the Arsenal performance. Again, far from perfect, but that was a good performance against, a side that are very different now. But that was a good performance. I thought I'd say Newcastle was satisfying again. Second half, I thought we stepped it up.
I was going to say Newcastle,
So I'd say a mix of, because I still think we're far from perfect. We haven't had a full 90 minutes where I've gone, we've been on the money. We've scored goals. We've kept the clean sheet. We've looked good. Norwich game, I was there. 7-0 was good. Great goals, but not good enough in terms of a 90-minute performance. They're bottom of the league. I didn't think they'd win a game this season, so Brentford, screw you. But Norwich are a poor side. Yo-yo, club that doesn't invest in their players shouldn't be in the league. Forget them. It's almost like beating a championship side in the FA Cup. So great 7-0, but for me, I'd say a mix of Arsenal 2-0, good performance like that. Lukaku coming in and showing what he's made of, Reece James making an impact. And that 3-0 second half away to Newcastle. So first half of Arsenal, second half of Newcastle would be my kind of two performances that I enjoyed. And also I thought we were quite good in. In terms of worst performance, I think it's probably the 2 defeats we've had. It's probably just throwing the dice.
The
I'd
City
say
one was bad, I felt.
Yeah, we were there, we were watching it, and it was just complete domination. Grealish looked like he would just keep the ball for 90 minutes and no one would tackle him. We didn't look like we were going to... Okay, we had the offside goal, but other than that, we never really had a chance. We never got a foothold in the game until Loftus-Cheek came on. We never really got on the ball and looked like we were going to dictate play. So that was just a bit of a humbling because I was expecting to turn up, give them a good game, a minimum a draw. I was not looking to turn up to that game and walk away with less than a point. I wanted to win that game. It was a statement game and we missed out a chance to really stamp our authority. And I think if we'd have won that game or got a point, a lot of fans would have been talking differently about us. Yes, Juventus was bad, don't get me wrong. It's because I was there, I think, at City, feeling the pain firsthand, so close to the pitch. I think that's why it was a little bit worse. But Juve was bad, but they backs against the wall. They didn't really dominate us throughout the 90 minutes, whereas City pretty much just had us in their hands and they were just rubbing them throughout the 90 minutes. So yeah, that was... Man City was tough to take. I want to see us play better away from home against them. And, obviously Man United, it's another big chance. We just need to, the next couple of big games, we need to turn up because obviously draw against Liverpool away, lose to City at home. We need to, just change the narrative. So yeah, they would be my kind of games that I would pick the best and worst. I don't know what Taron would say. I think he'd probably feel my pain with the Man City because we were bleeding together. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Taron says about his best game, though.
Darren, best and worst game?
Yeah, I literally couldn't decide on one. I've gone with, like Johnathan did before, I've gone with 2 joint of each. I literally cannot separate them by anything. I'll start with the best. Let's start on a good note, and then let's slowly sour down to the sadness, which was a few of the games I'm going to mention. I know it's cliche and it is kind of vanilla, but I'm going to go with Norwich just because it's purely the game that I felt we would win the league. That was the game that I really felt a connection to our attacking play. It was improving. We were clinical. We really, Norwich, they're really, really bad, but they're our Premier League team. They did absolutely storm the Championship last year, and we absolutely decimated them. They had nothing. Our midfield was amazing. Our attack was amazing. Mason Mount hat-trick. It just, everything really clicked into place. Ruben Loftus-Cheek with a last-minute assist. Even Ziyech again involved there. Just absolutely amazing performance from top to bottom. The joint one I've gone with that is the Spurs game away. Just because the first half, like I said, we were pressed and we really looked second best. And then the second half, we came out and it was almost like Tuchel got a baseball bat and
Tactical
was like, if you
change.
don't come out in that second half, I will get this baseball bat and I will absolutely teach you all a lesson. And he really did teach him all a lesson. And even Gary Neville was saying this Chelsea team is really good. And that's when we started to get the respect, even though we are Champions League winners. Everyone hates Chelsea, let's be honest. All the rival fans do. But Gary Neville, a real hater of us, literally said, this Chelsea team is special. They will do amazing things this season. And, look how it's gone since then. We've won, we've only lost 2 games and drawn 1, something really, really stupid like that. But yeah, in terms of the worst games, this is a different one to everyone else, but the Southampton game in the Cup at home, you could say it didn't really mean much, but Johnathan was sitting next to me the whole time, and I'm so frustrated with everything we were doing.
They probably should have won that as well, Taron.
Yeah, they dominated us in the second half, and it was just painful. Just like the goal we conceded where Kepa went through his legs, just stupid defending by Alonso. Our control was poor. We barely created chances. And we really looked second best against the Southampton team who had Lianco at centre-back, who dominated Kai Havertz. And yeah, it was just a really painful game to watch as a fan.
Score in that game, to be fair, a header from a corner against him.
Yeah, but he did have a really poor game.
I know what you're saying. I do agree. And we drew 2. We've lost 2 and we've drawn 2, Taron.
Johnathan, the classic fan, but he scored. I love when fans just only remember the goals and nothing else.
Stat that matters, to be fair. Goals is the only stat that actually counts. But yeah, joint with that, the Juventus game, I generally can't look past that at all. The City game was awful, but I felt like it was a tactical thing. We were struggling to deal with the 3-5-2. It was just a real anomaly, in my opinion, that City game. It won't happen again. We won't get absolutely dominated from start to finish by a team similar to us. But that Juventus game, to come after that City game and have that kind of reaction, we didn't look like scoring. We were just relying on long shots. Juventus kept counter-attacking us, silly ball losses. And Lukaku was poor, Havertz was poor. The midfield was so lethargic, playing it backwards. And then, like I said, Kovacic was giving the ball away. Then we were getting counter-attacked. Chiesa could have had 2 or 3 on the day, to be honest. And we conceded 30 seconds into that second half. That's what angered me the most. I literally went to get some biscuits from the kitchen. I came back and I looked, and Chiesa had scored. And I was like, oh, I must be on the wrong channel here.
Hobnobs.
I think it was Maryland cookies, actually.
He brought hobnobs into the ground for one of the games. I was like, oh, do you want the hobnob? I was like, I'll say that's a hobnob, but yeah.
That's true.
Too funny, man.
Yeah, not hobnobs. It was Maryland's. But yeah, that was annoying. Yeah, hobnobs like top quality. It was just hobnobs.
I gotta have some hobnobs next time I'm there. I have to have them.
You have the classic GDK after the Chelsea game with me and Taron as well.
All right.
When we see at the airport, it'll be GDK and then hobnobs and a bottle cap on, just so we can show off to the stadium. But yeah, anyways, I say that Juventus game was annoying, man. It was just frustrating. We looked so second best, and it did actually worry me a little bit because we saw that City game and we showed no reaction to come back from that, which is quite weird. Under Tuchel, we lost the game. The Leicester game in the FA Cup. Then we came back against Leicester a few days later and we got the 2-1 win. So it was a bit alarming, but we came back against Southampton and beat them 3-1. So yeah, them 2 games. I might just quickly mention a game if you don't mind quickly, as I saw Almighty Blues FC say the Liverpool game in that second half. That was absolutely magnificent. How many teams can you say down to 10 men at Anfield when they were in prime form, and we just resulted them to only having long shots against us? Mendy was superb.
They had nothing.
And we could have scored. Kovacic could have scored on the break. It was a simple chance, 1-on-1, and he could have scored. So that game really made me feel like we had it to win the title as well. The Norwich and the Liverpool games were mostly, massive.
It's before I give you guys my best and last game, it's interesting, the whole theme of this particular stream, it's been heavily critical about our attackers. None of our defenders have made it to the worst. None of our worst games have been, because of, even our best game, we can't even seem to find our best game because none of our attackers have really stood out. So it's interesting. That is the key issue at the moment where that's where it needs to click mostly. For me, best performance, very difficult. Arsenal, has to be one of those ones. But even then, I feel like we could have had a lot more gears that we could have gone forward. Crystal Palace is one game that doesn't get talked about enough. It was the first game. But once again, we could have had a lot more gears forward. But yeah, Taron, you're right. That Liverpool second half defensive display, that determination not to concede, fantastic. Newcastle, as Johnathan said, second half, tactical tweak, more direct. Callum Hudson-Odoi creating havoc on the wings and opening space up for Callum. So for me, you boys are right. It's bits and pieces from each match. It's not like I can say Spurs second half. I can't say one game, start to bottom, fantastic. Even the Norwich game, 7-0, perfect, fine. But even that had glimpses of few areas where we could have been better, as Johnathan has been saying. I know Taron's ecstatic about that game, and you should be for a 7-0, but if you're someone, and we all are, we analyze it to the T, there were areas that you could have been better in that game. You just know Chelsea's finest performance is probably a lot better than that 7-0. So for me, very difficult to say what is our best performance. I'd have to say Liverpool's defense, second half, Newcastle's second half, and Arsenal first half. So bits and pieces of everything. Worst performance, Brentford for me has to be one of them. That second half, we didn't deserve anything. We did not deserve anything. Brentford was all over us like a rash. So that sticks out massively. If it wasn't for Mendy, we were dead in that game. City, you're right, Taron. Tactically, we were a bit off, but still was very difficult to watch. Juventus was also clueless with possession. One clueless without possession, one clueless with possession. And Brentford obviously just peppered us. So That would be my worst and the best, I suppose, scenario. Ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much brings us to the end of the show. I just want to get some final thoughts from the lads. But before we do that, only 21 more likes left to get to 50 likes. I think 50 likes would be fantastic to achieve for this particular stream, late UK time. Let's get another 20 likes. Only 20 more likes to go. Nearly 50 people live. If you guys have been enjoying it, which I know you have been, you guys have been participating in the live chat thoroughly. So smash the like button. Get those likes up to 50 straight away. Johnathan, Taron, international break, obviously right now. Next weekend, we're going to be back again with the Premier League. Taron, how's your mood? Do you feel November, end of November, the entire December, this is where we will figure out whether we are the real deal or not?
First of all, say the international break. It's actually gone quite quick this time. I don't know what it is about it. I don't watch any of the international games. I think it's a waste of time. I just look to see if any of our players scoring. But yeah, in terms of that, I've always said multiple times. I've said it to Johnathan when we went for a very nice Pizza Express. It's a British restaurant on Saturday. Was it? Yeah, I said that. I really look when titles are decided after the last international break, the November one. That's when I see, because at the start of the season, there's now, especially this season, quarantines, players coming back from Euro tournaments, players being injured, stuff like that, and then you have an international break every month. So it's very uneven with teams. You don't really know which team is the best overall. There's a little factor to determine that, but from that time, from December to March, it's just Premier League, really. Premier League, a few Champions League games, FA Cup occasionally, Carabao Cup, but that is when the real crunch time starts, when you really see which teams are pretenders and which teams are the real teams that are going to go the furthest. We fell in the December time under Frank Lampard in his first season. We couldn't handle even last season under Frank Lampard. We started off so well. We won. We had that 20-game unbeaten period, and then the wheels started to come off. And you could see that Man City were by far better than the rest. Liverpool started to fall off. Spurs started to fall off under Mourinho, and City really, really went away. But now I don't feel like it's going to be as obvious. I think Liverpool have been so good. City have been so good. Chelsea have been so good. It won't be a massive gap, but there will be that little bit there. And I'm saying it here. If Liverpool are not 6 points by February, gone time, they will not be winning the title. Because Salah and Mane are so crucial to their goal contributions that when they try and transform that to Origi and Minamino, it's going to be a massive drop for them. They are going to struggle. And they need to be at least 6 points above everyone else to have a chance of winning the league. So, yeah, I'll say this period is massive. We will see a little bit of a team that will pull away. And then May, April, March time, Champions League is going to be in full flow. Internationals are going to be back. There's going to be a lot more games compared to other seasons with the African Cup of Nations. It's going to be a tighter schedule. Yeah. But, yeah, I think one team will turn away. In my opinion, it's biased again, but I think Chelsea will start to develop more attacking-wise. It's started to come together more and more now, and our defence looks solid. So I think Chelsea will pull away. City have had a few weird results. I feel like their attack is similar to ours in the fact that they don't really have a main front three. They do tend to rotate. They don't have that main three that will start in a big game. And Liverpool have been really poor defensively. So I'll say Chelsea will pull away a little bit. And we have Mendy going away, but Kepa will come in. And I believe in him. So, yeah.
Perfect, man. Johnathan, some final statements for you after the international break. I mean, feeling confident?
I think it takes a certain type of fan like me to be upset about a 7-0 win. And it showed after we won the Champions League where I said, look, great, we won the Champions League. Let's win the Premier League. And I'm set on winning this Premier League title. It will be a sweet one.
You literally said that after an hour.
An hour and a half. Exactly. So I'm tunnel visioned, have been. I'm someone that, analyze the game, may not do it as much as at the moment as I used to on Twitter. Obviously, in terms of this stream, it's just been about just rejoicing about, we have been good this season. I know there's been bad parts and there's been a lot we can improve on, but we are still top of the league. We are second top goal scorers. I obviously helped by that 7-goal thumping of Norwich, but 4 goals conceded in 11 games. That's impressive. Only 1 from open play as well. So yeah, there's a lot to build on. And there's a lot to work on. I still, feel like the best is yet to come. Just want to add one in as well, a little bit of fun. Favorite goal this season? Chalobah was a great one. We dropped to his knees against Palace. But for me, the one which he hasn't unfortunately kicked on from was that Lukaku goal against Arsenal, because I was like, Oh yes, I was celebrating like mad. You know, if my
I was
neighbours
going to say
were,
Lukaku goal against Aston Villa. That ball from Kovacic was
that was good, but I
unbelievable.
was
And then Lukaku cuts in. Oof.
yeah, those were good goals. But it was that game, first game, you know, against Arsenal, where I just felt like, wow, this guy's got what it takes. Hopefully, but that will come. So yeah, I think my thought would be, I'd love for us to keep under the radar, still be undervalued. You know, when people talk about centre backs, you know, still my colleagues are saying, you know, Van Dijk and Diaz. No one mentions, you know, the Rudigers, the Silvers, the Christensens. You know, Christensen is part of the Denmark side that has just conceded their first goal in qualifying. 29 unanswered goals, first goal they've conceded tonight, you know, in all their games.
Amazing.
You know, he does it for Denmark and Chelsea. So yeah, look, I'm happy, but I'm also very wary that we do need to improve. I feel like we will, but also, you know, City will definitely improve. I feel like if I had to say our closest challenges, it would be Man City. But yeah, we just need to make sure that, you know, we keep raising the bar and we keep asking for more, because if our attackers start, you know, getting the goals and contributing, you know, we will hope you propel us, you know, to the latter stage of the competition and in a good position. So look, it's been good fun. You know, obviously appreciate the channel this season's taken us to so many games. You know, thanks to Miz and obviously everyone interacting and watching. So it's been a different one for us this season because we've been really there and really living and breathing the day to day, which gives a different perspective to, you know, when I watch on the screen. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. This has been a lot of fun talking about Chelsea so far. We're nearly a third of the way in, like we said. Make sure you subscribe to this great guy. 8,000. Just, you know, congrats on that. But 10's not too far around, you know, around the corner. So subscribe and like, guys, because, you know, it's a good community we've got here. We're going to be going to the Leicester game next week. I'm absolutely buzzing for it. I got the tickets through this morning.
Love it.
So old-fashioned tickets, you know, don't get them much anymore. So yeah, looking forward to hopefully a good season. I feel like, you know, we're setting ourselves up for some success. So yeah, thanks for having me as always. And yeah, up the Chels.
Brilliant. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. You know, a season sort of assessment so far, and yeah, there's a lot of interesting topics being raised. And let us know in the comments once this is you know, stream is over. In the comments, interact. Let us know how you've felt about some of these conversations, and as Jonathan said, let's build on the community. Check out the boys and their socials in the description. Smash the like button. We're only 16 away from 50 likes, so let's get to those 50 likes. And then, you know, if you're here for the first time, subscribe. We are on the way to 10,000 now. I'll probably have a stream tomorrow. I don't know, either 11 a.m., 12 midday UK time. Let's see, depending on if there's any news that comes up. So we'll see what happens. So do look out for that. Smash the bell notification to basically be aware of, you know, all the things that's been happening in this particular channel. Until next time, everyone, take care and see ya.